Really, FBI? You're deleting old boomers over Facebook posts? What's really going on? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the FBI executing a raid on 74-year-old Craig Robertson in Provo, Utah, because Mr. Robertson allegedly made some threatening posts on Facebook against President Joe Biden, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, and I think that might have been it, but it could have been a few more people. Now, I guess this guy was a Trump supporter, and he was just doing too much online, so the federales went to his house out there in Provo, Utah. Now, I'm reading that they got into a shootout, which means he might have been shooting back, but I don't know if that's true. We're going to get into a little bit more detail in a minute. But this is the guy right here, Craig Robertson. I'm not quite sure how recent the picture is, but he was 74 years old, lived in Provo, Utah, and I believe he's a member of LDS, Latter-day Saints, or what they may call a Mormon. Now, that's him. He had a few posts we're going to get into, so I'm not leaving out any details. But first, let's go ahead and get into the news clip. If you want to see this clip in full without my commentary, link, as always, will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio. Go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
A Utah man was shot and killed early this morning during an FBI raid on his home. CBS's Ed O'Keefe reports that the agents were attempting to serve an arrest warrant after the man allegedly threatened to kill President Biden, his family, and several others, including former President Obama.
According to court filings, just 3 days ago, Craig Robertson posted that he'd heard President Biden was coming to Utah. Robertson made a threat, saying he would be cleaning the dust off the M24 sniper rifle. A.T. Smith is a former Secret Service deputy director and CBS News consultant.
I think this is about as extreme as it gets.
Video shot by neighbors apparently shows the FBI raid, which began this morning, and at some point explosions are seen. One neighbor said they heard around 6 gunshots and that Robertson's body was eventually brought out to the street. Early Wednesday, sources tell CBS News an FBI team tried to arrest Robertson at his Provo, Utah home, less than an hour's drive from where the president's traveling tonight. Some kind of confrontation ensued, and Robertson died.
Now, can we get a little bit more detail than that? Some kind of confrontation. Now, was it some kind of just verbal altercation? Was there a gunfight? Did Mr. Robertson shoot first? Like, the details of that are going to let us know whether this was justified or not. If y'all go to his house and he shoots first, then what are you going to do? You got to shoot back. But then the question is, should you have gone to his house? If this was a threat against Trump, would you have gone to his house? We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute.
The FBI had been investigating Robertson for 5 months for allegedly making threats against other officials, among them Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and Attorney General Merrick Garland, all of them overseeing criminal or civil proceedings against former President Donald Trump. In March, using Truth Social, a platform favored by Trump, Robertson said he would be traveling to New York to fulfill his dream of killing Bragg. The criminal complaint includes allegations of more than 24 other threats against Vice President Harris, prosecutors, and FBI agents.
Let's pause for a minute. Let's take a look at all these so you guys can see what's going on. One thing to note is that these are all Facebook posts. Why didn't they mention Facebook? They're talking about Truth Social because that is Donald Trump's social media platform. Why not speak about Facebook, where most of social media happens? These are all obviously Facebook posts. Now, I'm not saying that it's right to make threats against the president or government officials. Don't get misunderstood, but let's just get a little bit of clarity of what's going on. Talking about death to Biden. I'm not going to read all these because I don't want them to try to say that I'm threatening anybody. I don't want to threaten anybody at all. I'm all about peace and love.
There is a line to be crossed, and clearly this individual crossed that line, and that's why the FBI was there today.
Neighbors tell CBS News Robertson was active in his church, pro-Second Amendment, and someone known to have a, quote, arsenal of weapons in his home. A White House official says the president was briefed on the case this morning shortly after the shootout. The Secret Service referred all questions on the case to the FBI.
So he said it right there, shootout. You see, it didn't want to say that in the news clip, but what he's saying right there is that there was a back and forth gunfire. That's called a shootout. Now, the question is, who shot first? Was it the old man or was it the federales? I guess it remains to be seen. Now, I have more here. I got some pictures and I got an article we can get through. Let me just get out of this right quick. All right. Now, here is Mr. Robinson. Okay, that's him and the arsenal. Nothing wrong with having an arsenal. You got weapons legally. It is what it is. I'm not quite sure where this was posted. If it was on Facebook, on True Social, or whatever, probably on Facebook. Okay, now here is a post that he made. You can read these for yourself. I'm not going to read them because they're going to try to say that I'm doing it, and I'm not going to threaten anybody. I'm all about peace and love, no war. All right, so we can see some of these right here. We can see my man with his arsenal. But remember this. This is Kathy Griffin, kind of semi-famous, I suppose, a celebrity, so-called comedian. Now, this is her with a bloody effigy of Donald Trump's head. Now, I think she might have gotten a phone call from the federales. Maybe they came to her house. I don't think they came to her house. If I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comments. But I don't recall anybody that did things like this continuously for years. I don't recall anybody having anybody come to their house. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe I don't know everything because I don't know everything. But I don't recall anyone getting a visit from the federales at their home over doing things like this. But I do recall quite a bit of stuff like this happening. All right. Now, my thing is, if we're going to say that threats against government officials, presidents, district attorneys, etc., if we're going to say these things are wrong, which I'm not denying it, but if that's what it is, then let's let that be what it is. And let's not have it be circumstantial. Let's not have that be the case. Now, here's an article we can glean a little bit of information from. You see what's going on. Utah man suspected of threatening President Joe Biden shot and killed as the federales served the warrant. All right. And again, this is in Provo, Utah. Armed Utah man accused of making violent threats against President Joe Biden was shot and killed by FBI agents hours before the president landed in the state on Wednesday. So I guess since Joe Biden was coming to Utah, this was very important to go ahead and get this guy arrested and or under control right away so he wouldn't be able to come to the place. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Special agents were trying to serve a warrant on the home of Craig Delu Robertson in Provo, south of Salt Lake City, when the shooting happened at 6:15 a.m. Robertson was armed at the time of the shooting, according to two law enforcement sources who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity to discuss details of an ongoing investigation. Robertson posted online Monday that he heard Biden was coming to Utah and he was planning to dig out a camouflage suit and begin cleaning the dust off the N24 sniper rifle, a post that came after months of graphic online threats against several public figures. According to court documents, Robertson referred to himself as a MAGA Trumper, a reference to former President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, and also posted threats against top law enforcement officials overseeing court cases against Trump. Now, let's just pause for a minute. I wanted to be very crystal clear. I'm not saying that it's okay to post threats against public officials or anybody like that. But I see quite a bit of this online when you're talking about those on the left against those on the right. And I see quite a bit of action against those on the right from those on the left. Your Antifa, your Black Lives Matter. It kind of reminds me of the whole thing going on with January 6th. Now, we could say January 6th was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. We can argue the severity or whatever of it. That's a different story for a different day. However, that gets a lot of attention, a lot of highlights. Those who were involved with that get football numbers, as they say, as far as punishment. They get locked up, no charges, in the hole, denying civil rights. They get all that. But then all the riots that happened in D.C. right next to the Capitol for months from Antifa, Black Lives Matter, pretty much go unchecked. It's like not even really a big deal. My thing is, let's just hold everyone to the same level of accountability and let's not give anybody special treatment. Is that too much to ask? Apparently it is, but let's keep on going here. See if we can glean more from it. Neighbors describe Robertson as a frail, elderly man. His online profile put his age at 74, and he walked with the aid of a hand-carved stick. So this man, 74 years old, boom, and walking with a cane. Okay. Though he regularly carried guns, they said he didn't seem a threat. There's no way that he was driving from here to Salt Lake City, setting up a rifle and taking a shot at the president. 100% no way, said neighbor Andrew Monder outside the church across from Robertson Street. The attack comes as Republicans, who have traditionally touted themselves as a party of law and order, have escalated their attacks on law enforcement. What am I reading? What's this? The Onion? Now, this is Associated Press. This right here, this is, at this point, this is opinion right here. Okay. Law enforcement, What are we talking about? What Trump supporters are attacking law enforcement? Is that really a thing that we do? I'm not saying that nobody who has voted for Donald Trump has ever attacked somebody from law enforcement, but that's not a thing. Like I've never heard anybody say, hey, we're Trump supporters, go attack law enforcement. That's not what we do. Anyway, so this is just opinion from Associated Press. And I don't need to read the rest of this. But basically, you see what's going on. This is old boomer, 74, walking with a cane, and then the federalists want to come serve him because of some threats made against the president and others online. Again, one more time as I close, threats against these people are not okay. However, can we get equal enforcement of the law? Can we get equal scrutiny up under the law? I wonder how many people who have made threats against the president when it was Trump and anybody in his administration, I wonder how many of them have been investigated for doing such a thing. And the amount of hate I get and threats I get online that that nobody even cares about, are they investigating those people as well? It's just really weird. So hopefully we get more information. What happened here on that day? Was there a shootout where Mr. Robertson shot first? Did the federales shoot first? Let's get more information and get to the bottom of it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the federales showing up at this old man's house in Utah, serving the warrant, and then he gets deleted? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. There's a lot of attention given to those who are seen as conservatives. Even if you are a Catholic person, you could be seen as a right-wing extremist. There's a lot of attention paid to these kind of people, but then those on the left who are more extreme in their provocation, their threats, and their actions, they're not quite seen the same way. They're seen kind of on a lower level, not really a big deal, kind of treated with kid gloves. My thing is, let's let everybody be equal if we're going to be equal. And if we're not, then we kind of understand what side the federales, the government, the federal government, we know what side they're on, and it's pretty clear. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.